morning from Island Paradise. Very excited for our first freedive exploration today, and it's going to be on the House Reef, so it's literally right over there. There's not many places where the House Reef is good enough to be able to freedive and see lots of amazing stuff. So let's get to the dive center and get our briefing and get in the water.
No, it's all right. Can I?
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning.
Hi, morning. Hey, good
Hi,
morning.
Beth. Good morning. Welcome to the Dive and Sail.
Thank you
My name
so
is
much.
Adam,
Hi,
and I'm the
Adam.
manager of Hair.
Okay, great to meet you, Adam.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Beth.
and I'm so excited. I've heard such amazing things about diving here.
Oh yes, Ellaidhoo is a very well-known dive resort in the Maldives. And our House Reef, our home reef,
Yeah.
is one of the best in the Maldives.
Wow.
Just less than 20 meters from the shore, you are entering to 30 meters drop of wall,
Wow.
which you can see turtles, sharks, tuna, different kind of rays like stingrays, eagle rays, manta rays. Even the sharks also, you have a very high chance to see the good size of grey reef sharks, good size of nurse sharks, and full growing black tip reef sharks, white tip reef sharks.
Wow.
It's one of the best house reef, and which you are allowed to dive 24 hours on our house reef.
Wow.
This is only the house reef allows in the Maldives to dive in 24 hours
That's amazing.
your stay.
Well, that's perfect for us freediving. Perfect for me too, because I'm happy diving 24 hours a day if I could, and I've never found somewhere where I could do that. So finally I found the place to do that. Because
You are most welcome. Free diving, snorkeling, diving,
Wow.
enjoy. Reef is just on your doorstep.
So when you say 24 hours, I mean, but what happens at
Anytime.
night?
Of course you can go by night diving then. Early morning dives, sunset dive, late night dive.
Wow.
If you like to go after dinner, you can go and enjoy your night dive with your dive buddy. Yeah? Early morning before you go into the breakfast, go and enjoy a dive and then go and have a good breakfast
Amazing.
and have a nice rest on the beach.
That's so great. So where are we on the map?
We are over here.
Yeah.
This is the Ari Atoll, and from here, this is the northern part of Ari, and here, southern part of the Ari. We are located in northern Ari Atoll, and very close to the east edge of the atoll. Yeah? And we do have, you can see a little mark over here, we have a wreck also on our reef, which if somebody loves to go wreck diving day and night, you have a possibility to go and dive there.
Amazing.
And all these marks are our dive sites, regular boats, which is we are going morning, 2 dives, afternoon, 1 dive. And those red color marks are the marine protected dive sites in the atoll. Number 11 called Fish Sad, 25 minutes distance from here. Our regular boat is reaching there. This is one of the top 10 dive site in the Maldives.
Wow.
And Mayatila also very popular and very well known dive site.
So if it's a marine protected area, does that mean there's no fishing allowed?
No
or?
fishing allowed, no touching, only for diving and snorkeling, which are the activity you can just look and enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
And weekly wise, we are going out for a manta cleaner station diving also, and we are going south end of the Ari Atoll, well-known place for the whale sharks. All year through, we do manta diving excursions and whale shark excursions. And we always not going for a manta cleaner station as a one spot. We always find it where the mantas are in Ari Atoll, and then we plan to tours to go there. So I'm going to say it, very happy to say it, 85% of our excursions are successful with manta excursion and the whale shark excursions.
Wow.
People come back here after the dive with a big smile on their face saying, great.
Amazing. Perfect. Yeah, well, I'm excited to get in the water and get started. So can you show us where we'll be diving today?
Yeah, please come. I will show you our House Reef ideal map, how you can manage that.
Yeah.
All our cylinders are aluminum cylinders. Those cylinders we kept here for House Reef diving. The green banded are our nitrox cylinders, and without green band is full air tanks for the House Reef dives. 10 liters, 12 liters, even we have a 15 liters. We have a 7 liter for the kids as well. If somebody like to have a smaller tank.
Wow.
So if you go in House Reef diving, just grab a tank here. If you're a nitrox diver, we are nitrox free dive center. All our dive centers are nitrox free. And even we are teaching the nitrox course also for free. We are happy the divers using the nitrox and enjoy their holiday with energy.
Nice.
Yeah. Just analyze it, your tank. Here's the analyzer. And fill the foam. Grab your tank, bring it over here, and then just assemble your equipments over here. After assembling, if you like to go straight out here, you see, it's less than 10 meters, you are in the water.
Wow.
Then you have a few kick, you are drop off. Just follow the current, go and enjoy it. Wherever you exit, just exit it, leave your scuba gear there. We will bring it for you, your equipments. You don't have to carry anything on your back to come back to the dive center after the dive.
Amazing.
You want to start it for the entry and exit points. After you assemble in here, we'll carry your equipments where you wish to start it.
Great. Luckily we don't have much equipment to carry.
Yeah,
and
it's
for
pretty
today,
hard.
you can see, you can just basically get your stuff on and go straight out here. And there's a magnificent reef right here, which is so unique to have. A lot of house reefs aren't that great, so they've been destroyed. This one's pristine conditions, and I can't wait to see it.
So here we are, dive center, and all around the island you have entry and exit points. These entry and exit points, we are given the numbers just opposite room number. This is your room number 301. You have seen already where your entry and exit points are just in front of yours.
We're staying right here, 301.
301 is the room is here.
Yeah.
This is your room, yeah. And you have an entry point just opposite your room.
Amazing. So you can literally roll out of bed and go and free dive on a reef.
How you can find those entry and exit points while you're diving or while you're snorkeling? We tie 2 ropes on the bottom, and it's come close to the surface of like 2-3 meters. There's no chance to miss that one.
Okay.
Yeah? It doesn't matter where you start your dive or snorkeling, you always find them around the House Reef. Then you can just exit from the water, just find the line.
Okay.
And this side of the reef is a straight drop off to 30 meters, and the other side of the reef is people love to go for easy slope dives. On this side of the reef is gentle slope. Both corners are quite steep down. And on the wall side, we have overhangs, one after another, started around 12 meters. Few of the overhangs are just below that, like 18, 20 meters.
Okay.
On the House Reef, we have a wreck lay on 26 to 33 meters. And if you wish to go and find yourself the wreck, it's quite easy to find that wreck from the reef. Just in front of the jetty, take a few kicks, and then you will be on the wreck. After the wreck, you straight back to the wall, and then you can continue your dive to the next exit point.
Great. So what are we going to be doing today?
Today, the current is drifting on this way, which we are calling incoming current. You get ready at the dive center. We carry all your equipments to a 7 entry point. Get your gear, go in the water, just follow the current and drift it. It's quite slight current, and if you reach 301 entry point, if you still have enough air and you like to continue your dive, take a next one, and after that also take next entry point and make your safety stop, exit it. When you exit, not right in front of the dive center, then any other places, just disassemble your gear and leave it. We will carry it and we will bring it for you to the dive center.
Okay.
You don't have to carry any equipments on your back here.
And when we're here, what should we be looking out for?
Oh yes, in our House Reef, there's a great chances to see even there, here. Commonly, you can see the grey reef sharks on our House Reef, full-growing grey reef sharks, white tips.
Wow.
Nurse sharks, 2 meter plus.
Wow.
You have very high chance to see them. You can find it over here, the camouflaged frogfishes also.
Oh, wow.
We have a greenish, yellowish frogfishes in our House Reef. Even who is small things lovers, we have a ghost pipefishes also in our House Reef.
Wow.
On these cave edges, very high chance to find them as well. Okay. And you have a very good chance to see turtles, stingrays, eagle rays, and many more. If you look into the blue, you have a very high chance to see a free swimming, tunas, all the free water living like giant trevallies and so on.
Great.
And we have another big cave over here between 305 and 308. Inside is lots of lives like gegonias, and quite deep in, just closer to the dive center end, is a little room which is free. If you just step in and have a look at to the blue, you feel you are in theater. Wow. You see the fishes come into the blue and going out, and they just
Maruhabaa from the beautiful Maldives, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever in the world you're tuning in. This is Divestream with Cinnamon, right here from the very nice, very sunny, very beautiful Maldives. And you're here on the in-house commentary. We have with me Hisham, and with me is CEO of Cinnamon Holidays, Mr. Chitra Jayatilaka, and co-founder of Blue Resources, Mr. Nishan Pereira as well. And what's going to happen is we are now going to go into a some quick footage of Ellaidhoo Maldives. Actually, let's go for a quick commercial break first, and then right in with the live footage from Beth and Miles.
For our first free dive at Ellaidhoo by Cinnamon, and I'm here with the deepest free dive in the whole of the Maldives, Hamza. So I'm really honored to be free diving with him, and we're just going right here, like just literally off the beach, and there's a spectacular reef. Well, we've heard it's the best house reef in the whole of the Maldives, so we're gonna go check it out, and I can let you know afterwards if I agree.
Ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay, let's grab our stuff and check it out.
Alright, so whilst Beth, Miles and Hamza get ready for their dive, just to give you a quick intro, this is the first of a series of 6 live streams some of the best dive sites in and around Maldives, and we are just about fortunate that these sites are within close vicinity of our resorts all over Maldives. And this one is rather special because this is in fact our House Reef, as Adam was explaining in the pre-recorded brief, that it's literally just a few steps out of your room. Chitral, good afternoon to you, and Nishan, good afternoon to you as well. So hope you're excited. We're going to have some wonderful sightings. I know that Beth and Miles did some I would say, recce dives yesterday, and they said some fantastic sightings, some of the best they've seen from a House Reef. What are you looking forward to?
Good afternoon, Hisham. How beautiful it is to be in sunny Maldives, and all that you see, the beauty of this earth in this patch of heaven that we call Maldives. It's an amazing archipelagic state. We are blessed to stay here. I know Nishan must be itching to get himself in the water, maybe in the next 4 or 5 days. But for now, we're stuck in the studio commenting on what Beth is going to discover.
Yeah, thanks, Chitral. Yeah, always nice to be in the Maldives. And I mean, it's been a place I've been diving for maybe quite a while, maybe more than 20 years, including Ellaidhoo, which I've dived many times before. So it's always nice to get back in the water in the Maldives. It's been a while, actually, maybe a couple of years. And yeah, looking forward to seeing the footage that these guys come up with right now.
And let's go into some of the footage that we have coming in.
Just over the drop off and look at some of the fishes. Around 12 meters, 15 meters, beautiful overhangs. There are some ropes, we can do a few hangs. It's
Cool.
beautiful.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it.
If you have any questions coming in, whether it is on Facebook, whether it is on YouTube, just drop it in the comments. We would gladly be able to take them up for discussion. If you have anything that you want to talk about, any particular sightings that you just saw, maybe we missed out on the stream, let us know. We have 2 experts in the field who would like to, I would say, go even deeper into the fantastic biology that is there right across us at Ellaidhoo Maldives.
So for anybody who loves what lies beneath the waves, Ellaidhoo is a place you will fall head over flippers for. Just a few meters from your comfortable room, here is a reef, which is a house reef, by the way. It has a tremendous 30-meter drop. Nishan, tell us more about this spectacular location.
I think what's unique with the House Reef, I mean, is the accessibility of the reef, in the sense that the reef lagoon that you see, so the shallow part that they kind of swam over, is quite narrow. It's maybe less than 50 meters, and then you come to the edge of the reef and the sea would drop off. And that's where usually you tend to see big animals and things like reef sharks and the nice clear blue water that you can see as Beth free dives down along that drop. There's a very steep, almost vertical drop to about 30-35 meters right in front of Ellaidhoo, which is a fantastic thing both for scuba divers and free divers. So these guys being expert free divers, you can see them going probably all the way down to about 30 meters. But as a scuba diver, I've been at the bottom of this area. I'm not as skilled as Beth in her free diving skills, but it's a fantastic place just to go and explore right in front of the resort.
I see a multitude of corals here.
Yeah, something unique here is also you have a lot of overhangs and kind of ledges and caves. These are just kind of fun to explore as well. And also sometimes you have sharks resting under these.
Okay. Beautiful. Wow. Lots of different kinds of fish.
Yeah, so I was just mentioning earlier about the sharks. I mean, these ledges are really nice, especially nurse sharks like to hang out under them. Nurse sharks are usually nocturnally active, so during the day you find them resting under ledges. They're very common around the Maldives. in all the atolls. And if you look around some of these ledges, Beth didn't find one today under that ledge, but there's definitely a few around Ellaidhoo as well as all the other resorts. I'm sure we'll see some nurse sharks over the next coming days as they explore more islands and more reefs.
Are these triggerfish, Nisham, we're seeing along with the snappers?
Yeah, those are the blue ones are blue triggers, or sometimes called red tooth triggers because they do have red teeth. I often refer to them as blue triggers. Few spiny lobsters there in the cracks. The lobsters tend to like these cracks in the reef. And the blue triggers or the red tooth triggers usually hang out on these drop-offs. So they feed on plankton, and they hang out in this blue water where there is plankton kind of upwelling or coming up from deep water into the shallows, so they feed in that area.
The shows of them, it makes very colorful and a clear day where a lot of light penetration really shows off their colors.
Yeah, they're really, really beautiful to see because they do swarm in large schools. They're also quite funny fish. I mean, triggerfish generally have a weird swimming motion if you observe them, but they also have this habit of they hide in little cracks on the seafloor on the reef. So when they're kind of alarmed or you scare them, they kind of dive into these holes, but they often get their body inside the hole and have their tail kind of sticking out, which is quite funny. They think they're very safe, but if you were a predator, you could probably pull them out from there.
You see lots of them, a complete shoal of triggers. And I'll see an occasional damselfish around, I think.
Yeah, there are damsels. Usually near drop-offs in the shallows, you will have damselfish hanging around, again, especially ones that feed on plankton.
Yeah. At 12 meters, there's a big overhang, but that's a bit deeper overhang. It goes down to 16, but inside, really beautiful gorgonian. Nice.
We need Beth's camera.
Lobsters back?
Yeah, the lobsters, always you find them in these cracks. They do tend to like these rocky habitats. You wouldn't find them where you have the most beautiful corals on the reef, but in parts of the reef that are more rocky, so they also like to stick in these holes for protection. And this is one of a common and interesting animal. This is a moray eel. There is quite a few species of moray eels in the Maldives. This looks like a giant moray. These animals can grow quite large, up to 3 meters. This one obviously not as large, but they're nocturnal hunters. They feed at night, so they hunt at night using their sense of smell. But during the daytime, you'll find them, kind of in these holes, just with their heads sticking out.
They're not the most friendly-looking fish, but they're quite impressive, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly look intimidating. They're not dangerous, but like all wild animals, you do have to treat them with respect. They are predatory animals and they have very sharp teeth, so you don't want to go and provoke them or mess with them, but then you shouldn't be provoking or touching any wildlife at any time. But yeah, if you go to touch them and they trigger them, they could deliver a very nasty bite. But generally you just see them sitting there, in the reef in the daytime. At night, usually you see them free swimming or swimming around the reef, and that's quite a sight.
So Beth is up.
I'm going to show you some sea cucumbers now.
So again, what you see here is that edge of the drop-off. Now this is something that's beautiful in the Maldivian reefs, where you have these steep drop-offs.
Are we seeing cucumbers there?
Yeah, that's a sea cucumber, also from the group of animals called holothurians, scientifically, but they are an invertebrate. They're kind of related to things like sea stars. They're usually common in these kind of shallow parts of reefs. And usually in areas with rubble and sand, or so even here, though it's rock, there's a little bit of sand on it, so they kind of filter, organic material from the sand and the sediment on the bottom of the sea, and they feed on that.
How interesting.
So the shallow parts of these reefs are really nice because you don't even have to be a very experienced diver, free diver, scuba diver. Anyone can kind of explore this, just with a mask, snorkel and
Pretty
fins.
cool. Back to the moray. As soon as we get close, he retreats a little bit into his hole again. Must be quite intimidating to see something so big coming towards you.
I think Beth makes a very valid point. I mean, we often worry about wild animals attacking us, but if you think of it from the point of a wild animal, we have fairly large, scary animals as well, and when you're coming at them, particularly if you're scuba diving, blowing bubbles, you can scare fish around quite a lot.
The feeling of intimidation can be quite mutual.
Of course. So here you have another hard coral. There is the small kind of orange reddish fish. They're called anthias. So believe it or not, though they look like damselfish, they're actually very closely related to groupers or bigger fish. So these ones are of the same family as groupers, but these animals are really interesting because they're very colorful and they hang out in large groups.
So we have about a couple of seconds, I think, before this particular feed will drop, and we're going to quick commercial break. Get some time to catch your breath as well, and the guys can reset their equipment. If you face some technical difficulty, we do apologize, as it is a very technically, I would say, difficult operation trying to live stream everything together. So do bear with us. However, we will do our best to kind of push you guys the best content. As you can see, now, experience later. This is Ellaidhoo Maldives by Cinnamon, the House Reef with Beth and Miles, assisted by Hamza of Dive and Sail. So let's go into a quick commercial break in about 10 seconds, and we'll be right back in a tad. Welcome back to Divestream with Cinnamon. This is episode 1 with Beth Neale. We are at Ellaidhoo Maldives by Cinnamon. The House Reef, just a couple of meters from your rooms, right here at the beautiful resort. And Beth's just having a quick look around. And with us in-house, we have 2 experts, because I cannot cover that particular job myself. Chitral and Nishan, over to you.
Yeah, we're seeing at the bottom lots of fish there. Am I also seeing a few surgeon fish, Nishan? These colors are just tremendous.
Yeah, there were 2 species of surgeonfish there earlier, the line surgeonfish and the powder blue surgeonfish. Again, very, very common fish in Indian Ocean reefs, including the Maldives. And they're usually seen in shallow water as well. You saw sweet lips there, just under that coral head earlier with the black and white lines. So called because of the large lips that they have. A lot of these names are quite descriptive of the fish's external characteristics.
So Nishan, we're getting a question coming in from Gayan on YouTube. He wants to know, what is the depth of the reef right now?
So the reef, it's difficult to say from this footage exactly how deep this is. This is probably around 8 to 10 meters depth, but the reef drop off here drops down to about 30 to 35 meters near Ellaidhoo. So it's just about between 100 to 110 feet.
Nishan, this must be a puffer?
Yes, this is a puffer fish. These you generally tend to find solitary like this along the reef. They feed on invertebrates, particularly like shells and mollusks. And again, you can see some anthias there. I was mentioning that anthias are quite interesting. Actually, a lot of reef fish are interesting. Anthias are one of those. A lot of reef fish are what we call hermaphrodites, or they're able to change sex. So they can go from male to female or female to male, depending on the species. So in anthias, you find them in groups. And these usually have a dominant male and a harem or a bunch of females there. So if the male dies, the dominant male dies, one of the highest ranking female changes sex and becomes a male, and then becomes the male of the group.
What an amazing adaptation for survival.
Yeah, it's very, very common with fish like this.
So beautiful. So many different fish on one dive.
So I think what Beth mentioned is one of the things about the Maldives as a whole. It's probably got some of the most diverse reefs in Sri Lanka, in the Indian Ocean, and it's quite high in coral and fish diversity. And the cool thing again, I mean, it's very accessible. Like I said before, you don't have to be a very experienced diver or anything. Even if it's a first-time snorkeler, you can just kind of swim out over the reef. And the water is always clear in the Maldives. There's no big rivers or fresh water coming in, so it's very, very clear, and it's a beautiful sunny place. It's a fantastic place for you to learn diving or try out snorkeling for the first time, and get close to some of this amazing marine life.
And I think, just to comment from a Cinnamon perspective, we are absolutely fortunate that the House Reef is this vibrant, this diverse, and just, well, like I mentioned, it's just a couple of meters from your room. The in-house dive center by Dive and Sail is absolutely fantastic. They provide brilliant support and a whole bunch of knowledge that these guys have in-house. As you saw earlier on the stream, Adam explaining in depth how you can basically dive as beginners, as intermediates, and as experts.
As a photographer, to me, Nishan, I always believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but pictures underwater must be at least worth 1,000,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun and challenging. I mean, I as a photographer and biologist myself, it's something that, like all photography, you accept that challenge. It's part of what drives you, and it's so rewarding when you actually get these images. But trying to manage your buoyancy and your balance, and if you're free diving, you have to be conscious of your breath hold ability. If you're scuba diving, you have time limits and ascent rates and so many equipment things to check on. And then of course you're in a very dynamic environment where you're moving with the currents and things. It's not like if you're on land and you can stabilize yourself and have a tripod here, you're kind of hand holding and shooting. So, but you adapt and you learn. And you can see that moray eel, actually, it might be looking for food right now. Now, these animals usually tend to hunt at night, but it doesn't mean that they never feed at daytime. They're always opportunistic. If they get a scent of food, they will go for it. It definitely seems to have smelt something in this crevice here in the reef.
Oh, I think he just caught something.
Yeah, I think it got something. Not clear. It might have been moving something as well. They sometimes move coral debris to get to something. There could be, either a live animal or sometimes even a dead animal that they smell. And
So,
you can
sorry, just to raise a question brought in by Amal. He wants to know if this is Don Valley or some other resort. Well, this is Ellaidhoo Maldives by Cinnamon. This is the House Reef, just a couple of meters from the resort itself. And it's a fantastic sighting. And Jennifer Harvey wants to know, how do they establish dominance? I'm assuming that is with regards to the hermaphrodite fish?
Yeah, so dominance is basically like with every other thing. It is usually, through aggressive interactions with other animals. So usually there'll be a male that kind of, fights off a few other males and takes control of that. With the Anthias, usually once the harem is established, there's only one male. But in other fish, for example, clownfish, you will have subordinate males in that group of fish as well, and you have to maintain your dominance.
Got it. So we are with Divestream with Cinnamon. This is Ellaidhoo Maldives, the first of a series of 6 live streams. Fantastic sightings for the first one. And if you are connecting with us through YouTube or Facebook Live, do send us if you have any questions. We have 2 experts in-house, Chitral and Nishan, who would be happy to answer any and all questions or queries that you raise.
As you said, Nishan, you can see the moray clearly shifting coral, almost on the scent of something.
Yeah, for sure, it's got wind of something or got the scent of something, so to speak. They do have a very keen sense of smell. It may have got something right now. No, if it's still looking, then it's not really got to what it wants to get. You'll also find, you see there like a bunch of other fish, even the surgeon fish mulling around it. So now some of these fish will go for scraps of anything that's left over when they feed, but often a lot of the other fish are not really going for what the moray is targeting, but it's waiting for it to disturb the substrate. So when it moves rocks and things, little invertebrates and things get exposed, so they kind of snap up other fish and other little bits of morsels of food.
Yeah. I can almost draw parallels. When an elephant moves in the dry zone jungles of Sri Lanka, the egrets would follow the feed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of the things, so even if you're not experienced in the ocean, animal behavior is built on the same principles. You're just applying it to the ocean. The one unique thing about fish, of course, is that what I mentioned, the sex change. I'm not aware of any land animals doing that, or at least large animals. But other than that, they act and behave very much like land animals. I think Beth is quite fascinated with this moray eel, which I totally understand. I mean, it seems to have actually got to whatever it got to. It seems to have calmed down and seems to be digesting its meal or relaxing, having its afternoon siesta, perhaps.
For now, I think this session, Beth has been holding her breath over 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's something I was quite fascinated about, because she is the South African free dive champion. She has a breath hold of 6 minutes. I tried to hold my breath for 6 minutes. I couldn't get through 2 minutes. I don't know if that's an issue I need to go see a doctor about, but rather concerning.
Yeah, I think most average people struggle to hold their breath for more than 30 seconds. I mean, if you're trying it first time, you probably do 15 seconds. In the ocean, the time feels much longer when you're kind of focusing on it. But yeah, if you're a very experienced free diver, they will all do more than 4 minutes to be a competitive free diver. Then they can even add on additional minutes for that.
This is another puffer species, Nishan.
Yes, this is another puffer fish. So there are several species, as I mentioned. This one I think is called, sometimes I get confused with the common names. As a biologist, we tend to refer to these with Latin names. You can also see some banner fish there. With the kind of the dorsal fin on the top being kind of elongated.
Beautiful. They just kind of hang out in the water and chill. Very cool.
That's the breathtaking beauty of Maldives on a dry day. Everything looks so blue. I was reading through a blog by Vilakshi Murugesh, and she very eloquently put, Nishan, she said, I sat till the day's eve just to differentiate the sky from the sea. Until then it was blue and blue. At least after 6, it was orange and blue.
Yeah, I mean, it is, tropical islands are really beautiful. When I mean tropical islands, the small kind of coral atolls and coral islands. Coming from Sri Lanka, of course, I come from a tropical island, but it's a very large and different island with its own unique beauty. But these coral islands are amazing, and the blue of the water is what hits you the first time, even when you get in the water. So there you see a pair of long-nosed, long-snouted butterfly fish, the pair in yellow. This is a pair of batfish.
Yeah.
So batfish also tend to hang around in mid-water like this.
Okay.
So there's a parrot fish swimming over the reef there, and a couple of trevally. These look like blue-fin trevallies. Beautiful.
Say batfish. They're not very friendly though.
So parrotfish are also another species of fish that we call a keystone species, or species that influences the habitat. So they graze on algae, but they kind of break off, parts of coral rubble and stuff, and coral rock, and then they grind it up inside their stomachs and in their mouths, and basically they extract the algae that's growing on that. And they basically excrete this powdered kind of coral rock like sand. So they're actually very important in creating sand on coral reefs.
Okay.
So some of the times you walk on a coral island and you see the sand on the beach, you are literally walking on parrotfish poo actually.
Alright, so once again, this is Divestream with Cinnamon coming to you from Ellaidhoo Cinnamon by Maldives. A couple of questions coming in, very resort specific. We'll be taking a quick break in about 30 seconds. So yes, I think there was a question that came in from Amal about water sports activities. We are, in fact, yes, we are operating all water sports activities right now. And from Shehan, is this real time? Well, we are actually a delayed stream. It's about an hour and a half. Since we need some processing time from the footage as Beth and Miles collected. And we'll be going into a quick commercial break now. We'll be right back after these. Maruhabaa from the beautiful Ellaidhoo Maldives by Cinnamon. This is stream number 1 of 6 of Divestream by Cinnamon. We are with Beth and Miles. Beth is a South African free dive champion, and she's taking us through the House Reef right here, a couple of meters away from just the rooms here at Ellaidhoo Maldives. So also in house we have Chitral and Nishan, experts in the field of biology, who will kind of run us through some of the fantastic sightings that we have right here.
Nishana, we're seeing our good friend Nemo here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. These are sea anemones and the anemone fish. So the one Nemo is the clown anemone fish. Interestingly, though, that specific species that is in Nemo is not found in the Indian Ocean. People do tend to call all anemone fishes clownfish, but so this one, actually, what you see is called the Maldives anemone fish, also called the black fin anemone fish. It's very unique to this part of the Indian Ocean. It's only found in the Maldives, the Lakshadweep Islands, and in Sri Lanka. So it's a very small geographic range that it's found in. So you will find that there is a lot more hard coral on the shallow part of the reef, which is where you get more sunlight. So corals need good sunlight exposure for them to thrive. So you have a lot more corals growing in the shallower parts of the reef. And as you grow deeper, you'll tend to find things like soft corals, some of the sea fans, and a little bit more rocky substrate.
Stay long.
Black-tip reef shark.
Yes, black-tip reef shark. This is the most common reef shark in the Maldives. There's two other sharks that are fairly common as well. The white-tip reef shark, which is active more at night. You find them resting in the daytime, and also the grey reef shark, which is a little bit bigger. But this one, during the daytime, when you're snorkeling, very common to see. Now that looks like a grey reef shark. So they're very often seen like this, patrolling in the blue on the edge of the reef, whereas black-tip reef sharks will be on the reef itself, kind of cruising around. There's a white-tip reef shark actually swimming around. That one next to the trevally, the long, slender body. So the Ellaidhoo House Reef actually has quite a few reef sharks that cruise around just right off the snorkeling area. If you go in just like 2 meters of water or less, even in standing waist deep water, you can see black-tip and white-tip reef sharks most times of the day.
See Miles taking a deep dive almost to the edge of the 30-meter vertical drop here.
Yeah, I think he's using the mooring line near the entrance to the channel where the boats come in as kind of a guiding marker. The freedivers often use kind of a line to help them kind of navigate down vertically. So you can see he's still holding his breath and he's very kind of smooth in the water. One thing that is really nice with freediving if you're a photographer is while you are constrained by time, you do tend to be able to get much closer to animals because you're not blowing bubbles like a scuba diver.
Yeah, that's what most cameramen working with us do back in Trincomalee in Sri Lanka when we photograph the whale, because the whale, as much as the largest animal on earth, is very sensitive to the bubbles.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of size, animals do get scared off by sound.
Yeah, there's lots of fish down there.
And back they go.
Yeah, it is kind of fun to be on these edges. There's another shark swimming around there.
It's a white tip.
Yeah, it's a white tip.
How close could you get to swimming with the sharks? Is there a point where you would deem dangerous, or?
Most sharks are very approachable. By approaching, I mean not going and hugging them and touching them. But if you approach them carefully, calmly and slowly, in a measured way, you can get very close to them, literally to touching distance. But of course, you shouldn't be touching them for the health of the shark and your own safety. But with these reef sharks, they're often difficult to approach because they are quite skittish. Especially if you're on scuba and you try to approach them, they tend to wear off. But if you're very careful and calm and you're not making a lot of noise, and if you're experienced enough to do that, you can get very close as a photographer. There's a few. There, those are grey reef sharks cruising in on the edge. So this is a white tip reef shark. The white tip reef sharks, you will see, they have a very narrow, slender body, because when they hunt during the night, they tend to be able to wriggle into these small crevices. It's amazing to watch them hunt. They get into holes that you wouldn't think that they could get their body into. So that body is built to kind of, you know, get into small spaces in the reef and catch sleeping fish. So basically they make the nightmares of sleeping fish come true when they're peacefully sleeping inside in a hole in the reef, thinking that they're safe. Suddenly you have this, you know, shark come and grab you.
So with such slender bodies, the white tips can be called as the supermodels in the shark world.
For sure. Although, I mean, I think grey reef sharks are really beautiful to see in a shark sense, but yeah, the white tips are definitely maintain the best model bodies in the shark world. I'm hoping they see a nurse shark today to see that as well, but perhaps we'll be lucky to see in the footage that's coming up. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you some sea cucumbers now.
So Nishan, there's a question coming in from Ashutosh Bora. He wants to know, what's the best time of year to visit Maldives, particularly for dive? Like, what is dive? What can be considered dive season essentially?
The Maldives is diveable year-round. You can dive there year-round, and there's good diving year-round, and there are different things you will see. Ideally, but if you're looking for the calmest conditions and the best visibility, you want to dive between November and April. So the time that you have the northeast monsoon in the Indian Ocean, that's the best time, and particularly around from about February to early April is very nice. The sea is very calm, good visibility. But during the southwest monsoon, when it's a little bit windier and the visibility is a little less, there's more plankton, it's also the time you have better manta ray sightings.
This is why we have Nishan in house. I think you couldn't have got a more comprehensive answer to that question. Right now we are with Divestream by Cinnamon, coming off Ellaidhoo Maldives by Cinnamon. This is the first of a series of 6 streams. We are with Beth and Miles. Just off the House Reef of Ellaidhoo Maldives.
I think the guys are taking a bit of a breath. So with free diving, as much as you come up and take a breath and go down, there is a limit to how many times you can repeat this, and it's not advisable to continuously doing that. Eventually, sometimes you need to spend a little bit of time on the surface and, you know, get oxygen back in your bloodstream, because you actually lower your oxygen amounts in your bloodstream. So if you do it repetitively, you can actually have what we call a shallow water or blackout. So if you have not enough oxygen, you can actually pass out underwater. So, but experienced free divers like Beth and Miles will know exactly how to manage their bodies and their diving, but sometimes they will take a break.
But also to those who are dreaming right now, looking at the images, fear not, because the in-house experts from the dive center right here at Ellaidhoo Maldives have got you covered at all times. You will never go a step, I would say, without guidance.
And of course, yeah, when I mention these things, people like Beth are competitive free divers, so they push their bodies to extreme limits when they compete. It's not the kind of free diving or snorkeling that we do on a holiday. That is completely different and very safe. But people like Beth, if you're able to hold your breath for 5-6 minutes, you're really pushing your body to the edge. I wouldn't ever recommend anyone doing that without the years of training and expert training that they do.
It's almost like a meditation now, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, freedivers, it's a lot about controlling your mind as well. So it's very common for freedivers to engage in meditation and yoga and stuff. It's increasingly popular amongst freedivers as well, because it's really about controlling your mind. It's quite complex.
Yeah, in fact, something we're working on, because actually Beth was talking to us, and what she said was she could actually do a couple of videos on couch yoga to kind of help you with your breath hold. And because obviously from a layman's perspective, we don't quite understand the science behind it. But in fact, what you're saying was even before a flight, you need a couple of days, in fact, for your lungs to kind of come back to its normal state if you would take a flight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is quite advanced levels of free diving that people like Beth engage in.
Tell us something about what we are seeing now, Nishan. It's very colorful.
So that looks like a reef oyster or a scallop, actually. That's a giant clam. Now these are really interesting. The giant clams can grow up to 1 meter.
Yeah.
Some species of giant clam. This one is not as large. Some more anemones as well that we saw earlier. So again, in this part of the reef, which is quite shallow, you don't actually even have to do any breath hold diving. I think even when they're filming, they're just floating on the surface like that.
Yes.
And actually getting the footage doing that. So this is they're combining some of their rest time on the surface to get us some of the footage as well. And again, this is the area that anyone can actually snorkel. You don't have to be a champion free diver to go down to 30 meters to see nice things. You can just go off the beach and see lots of interesting animals.
So you can do all this right here at Ellaidhoo Maldives by Cinnamon.
So this is exactly what Beth is doing. She's just relaxing on the surface and then going down a little bit again. So what you might think is actually effort for someone like Beth, like swimming on the surface, she's actually relaxing and regaining her breath. Then she will just go down quite deep. So what she's doing there is equalizing her pressure in her sinuses or in her nose. So she's just kind of pinching her nose and blowing out. So that helps to equalize the pressure inside her, internal cavities in her body, so that she's on the same pressure as the seabed.
Freediving has always intrigued me, Nishan. As much as humans we love to even dream of having that freedom of flight, this is the closest we can get to.
Yeah, I mean, diving underwater is definitely the closest you can, and while it requires some training, it's a lot easier than, say, skydiving to learn, especially if you're just snorkeling. But the sense of kind of dropping down off a drop off, whether you're free diving or even with scuba, as you descend into the kind of the blue is a fantastic feeling to have.
I believe this is one of the caves that we spoke of earlier on in the stream. It's straight off the edge of the...
Yes. So this is one of these. I know even in front of Ellaidhoo, I've personally seen a few nurse sharks and other things inside these areas. I'm sure we'll see one in the coming days. And what you see here is how calm and controlled that is. There is no exaggerated movements, and you will notice that they don't use their hands much.
We seem to be having some streaming difficulty, but not to worry, because we have more footage coming your way. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back in about a minute's time. This is Divestream by Cinnamon. We are right here in Ellaidhoo Maldives by Cinnamon. The House Reef, the stunning House Reef, a couple of meters away from your rooms right here at this beautiful resort. And we are in the closing few minutes of this of the first of 6 streams. Fantastic sightings for the first one. We are privileged to have Nishan and Chital here with us, experts to give us a good comprehensive understanding of the sightings that we saw for the past close to an hour or so. And Beth and Miles are the 2 absolute champs in the water, assisted by Hamza from the dive center. So just to give you guys a heads up as well, the next stream is coming to you in 2 days time on the 16th. I know it's the 14th, Valentine's Day, so hope you have fallen in love with Maldives. On the 16th, we will be at Don Valley. We will be scuba diving, in fact, with Akash Malhotra, who is a fantastic Indian diver. He is a wonder with sky on Instagram if you're following him. Chitral, Nishan, any closing comments on what you saw today?
I think it will be a fantastic day. Both Nishan and I are stuck in the studio. We would love to be out there in the ocean. But, you know, they say that once the sea touches your soul, life on earth will never be the same again. Nishan?
Yeah, I think that touched my soul a few decades ago, so I think I've been very much in a Valentine's Day mood ever since with the ocean. But yeah, it's been great fun watching these guys in the water, and we look forward to the next dive, especially when they're on scuba. It's a different experience, and we'll have kind of possibly a little bit longer time underwater on the sequences, and hopefully see some other interesting animals in the other sites.
And if you're an amateur diver, or if you're not a diver at all, and you're trying to kind of figure out how the whole thing works, this stream will be hosted on our YouTube and our Facebook pages, so not to worry. The first 10 minutes is Adam, who is the managing director of Sail and Dive, who handle all our dive requirements at the resorts. He gives a proper comprehensive understanding of dive, how it's done, whether it's scuba, whether it's free diving, where the sites are, basic etiquette of diving. It's all covered for you. Right here from Ellaidhoo Maldives by Cinnamon, this is Divestream by Cinnamon. We thank you for joining us, and before we leave, I want to leave you with the opportunity to win a fantastic chance to visit Maldives yourself. So all you got to do is follow us on our 5 pages, Cinnamon Hotels, Ellaidhoo, Don Valley, Velifushi Hakura, either Facebook or either on Instagram, and stand a chance to win some fantastic holiday packages. Until next time, thank you and stay safe.